Solo Sikoa was not successful at Survivor Series War Games as he took the pinfall to Roman Reigns in a huge main event in Vancouver. Before he entered the match, he sent a lengthy message to the OTC. Team Solo had the advantage at War Games as Jacob Fatu defeated Jey Uso on SmackDown just one night before. Not only this, but they were working as a complete unit, unlike Team OG Bloodline, which comprised of individuals fighting together, a big difference in multi-man matches. After getting ready to enter the cage, Solo exited the initial cage and went to Roman Reigns, telling him this would age like milk, as Solo Sikoa would be the one to take the pinfall after getting hit with multiple super kicks, a haluva kick, and a GTS before the OTC finished him off with a spear. The tension within the bloodline had been simmering for months, but as Survivor Series 2024 loomed, it threatened to explode into an uncontrollable inferno. Solo Sikoa, the enigmatic enforcer of the bloodline, had always been a figure of quiet loyalty. Yet, as cracks deepened within the family's empire, Solo's silence became more ominous, his presence more foreboding. In a shocking twist, just days before the War Games match, Solo sent a chilling message to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns, leaving the WWE Universe in stunned silence. Survivor Series had long been a battlefield for dominance, but this year's event carried unprecedented stakes. The War Games structure, 2 rings surrounded by a towering steel cage, was a fitting stage for the ongoing bloodline saga. Roman Reigns, the self-proclaimed head of the table, was set to lead his team into war against a coalition of WWE's top superstars seeking to dismantle his rule. Despite his confident exterior, Reigns' kingdom was crumbling from within. The Usos, Jimmy and Jey, had departed the faction months earlier, citing Reigns' manipulation and abuse of power. Paul Heyman's loyalty seemed to waver as he attempted to play peacemaker in an increasingly volatile environment. But the most intriguing figure in this drama was Solo Sikoa, whose allegiance was no longer clear. In the weeks leading up to Survivor Series, Solo's demeanor grew colder, his words fewer. While he continued to stand by Reigns during televised segments, his body language told a different story. Fans noticed the subtle yet deliberate moments where Solo would hesitate before acknowledging Reigns' authority. Whether it was refusing to partake in post-match celebrations or glaring silently during family meetings, Solo's actions spoke volumes. Backstage reports hinted at growing resentment. Solo had been the silent workhorse of the bloodline, doing Reigns' dirty work without complaint. Yet, as Reigns demanded more sacrifices, Solo began to question his role. WWE programming showcased a particularly heated exchange between Reigns and Solo on SmackDown, where Reigns berated him for failing to prevent a surprise attack by their War Games opponents. Solo didn't retaliate with words. Instead, he delivered his signature Samoan spike to an unsuspecting opponent moments later, leaving Reigns visibly unsettled. The defining moment came on the final SmackDown before Survivor Series. The Bloodline, Reigns, Solo, and their 2 new allies, Damian Priest and JD McDonough, stood in the ring for a heated promo. Reigns, holding his undisputed WWE Universal Championship aloft, addressed the WWE Universe and their opponents. "I am the tribal chief, the head of the table, and the man who has carried this company for 4 years," Reigns proclaimed. "Solo knows his place. He understands that loyalty to me is loyalty to the family. Unlike my ungrateful cousins, he knows I'm the reason he's here." The crowd's boos were deafening, but Solo remained stoic, his expression unreadable. As Reigns continued his monologue, Solo took a microphone, a rare occurrence in itself, and interrupted. "You talk about loyalty," Solo began, his voice low but menacing. "But loyalty isn't about fear, it's about respect, and respect goes both ways." The crowd erupted as Reigns' smug expression faltered. Solo stepped closer, his imposing frame towering over Reigns. "For years, I've done everything you asked," Solo continued. "I've taken the hits. I've broken bodies. I've spilled blood, not just for you, but for this family. And what do I get in return? Your ego, your greed." Reigns tried to interject, but Solo raised a hand to silence him. "At Survivor Series, inside War Games, I'm going to remind you, Roman, that respect isn't given. It's earned. And if you don't give me what I've earned, I'll take it." The tension was palpable. Reigns' face darkened, his fury barely contained, but Solo simply dropped the microphone and walked away, leaving the tribal chief fuming in the ring. The WWE universe exploded with speculation. Was Solo truly turning on Reigns, or was this a ploy to destabilize their opponents? Social media lit up with theories, some suggesting that Solo was aligning with his brothers, Jimmy and Jay, who had made cryptic statements about family matters earlier that week. Others believe Solo was vying for the tribal chief position himself, tired of playing second fiddle to Reigns. Paul Heyman, the ever-scheming wise man, added fuel to the fire during a backstage interview. Solo Sikoa is a man of action, Heyman said, visibly nervous. And when a man like Solo speaks, the entire world should listen. Roman Reigns has built a dynasty, but even the strongest dynasties face challenges from within. That's all I'll say on the matter. Reigns, however, was less diplomatic. In a fiery promo recorded after the show, he declared, "Solo Sikoa doesn't get to question me. I made him. I brought him into the bloodline. At War Games, he'll either fall in line or he'll fall. Period." The stage was set for Survivor Series 2024. The Bloodline's opponents, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and LA Knight, were ready to exploit any internal discord within the family. Yet the biggest question heading into the match was whether Solo Sikoa would truly stand with Reigns, or if his chilling message signaled the end of his loyalty. The War Games match itself was a brutal spectacle. Solo entered the cage as the third participant for the Bloodline, unleashing his trademark ferocity on their opponents. His Simone Spike incapacitated Zayn, while a devastating powerslam to Owens drew gasps from the crowd. Yet his interactions with Reigns were laced with tension. At one point, Solo deliberately ignored Reigns' commands, choosing instead to target Cody Rhodes, who had antagonized him on previous occasions. The turning point came in the match's chaotic climax. Reigns, attempting to assert his dominance, barked orders at Solo to finish the job against Zayn. Solo hesitated, glancing at the fallen Cody Rhodes before locking eyes with Reigns. The moment stretched into eternity as the crowd chanted, "Solo, Solo." In a shocking move, Solo turned his back on Reigns, exiting the second ring to face down LA Knight. Though it appeared he was still fighting for the bloodline, the act of defiance against Reigns was unmistakable. Despite their internal strife, the bloodline narrowly emerged victorious at Survivor Series, thanks to Reigns delivering a decisive spear to Rhodes. Yet the celebration was muted. Solo left the cage without acknowledging Reigns, disappearing backstage while the tribal chief stood alone in the spotlight. The fallout from Survivor Series was immediate. Solo's chilling message and actions during War Games left fans and analysts speculating about the future of the bloodline. Had Solo truly broken away, or was this a calculated move to keep Reigns on edge? The answers would undoubtedly unfold in the coming weeks, but one thing was certain. The cracks within the bloodline had become fractures, and Roman Reigns' once unshakable empire was now on the verge of collapse. Solo Sikoa's chilling message to Roman Reigns marked a pivotal moment in the ongoing saga of the bloodline. What began as a simple statement of defiance evolved into a full-blown power struggle, with Solo emerging as a potential challenger to Reigns' dominance. As the WWE Universe eagerly awaited the fallout, one thing was clear: Survivor Series 2024 was not the end of the bloodline story. It was merely the beginning of a new chapter, one where loyalty, respect, and family were put to the ultimate test.